Hello and welcome to R&R's Ask the Expert. I'm Kayla McGowan, Editor-in-Chief at R&R, and today it is my pleasure to introduce a very special guest, the 2024 Ralph Bloss Humanitarian Award winner. This prestigious award honors individuals in the cleaning and restoration industry who demonstrate compassion, leadership, creativity, and a commitment to improving the lives of others. This year's recipient is Raj Manickam, CEO of Steam Master in Vail, Colorado. After a 13-year career in banking, Raj transitioned into the cleaning and restoration industry, driven by a desire to make a meaningful impact on the world. As a leader at Steam Master, he empowers his team to innovate while maintaining the highest standard of quality and integrity. Raj's commitment to helping others shines through his work, such as when he led a community effort to support a young woman who lost everything in a mudslide. His dedication to sustainability, community service, and sharing his expertise makes a lasting difference in the industry and beyond. Everyone, please welcome Raj Manickam.
Thank you. That was a little bit big introduction. I appreciate it. Thank you.
A much deserved introduction. I've had the pleasure of getting to talk to you a little bit before we are doing this Ask the Expert, and I've learned so much about you, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. So I want to know, and I want the listeners to know, why you were inspired to pursue a career. I think I touched a little bit in your little brief bio, but what continues to also motivate you to stay in this field?
Yeah, you have alluded to the 13-year banking career. It's always about other people's money, which at one point, it doesn't challenge you anymore when you're just dealing with other people's money. So, you sometimes got to say, what are you truly capable of doing? And knowing that one's capacity, ability, and potential, I think you can always break out of the mindset when you truly decide to move that way. And that's kind of the beginning of meeting other people and meeting friends that are in other industries when I was part of a leadership program called White River Institute, and it's later on became Vail Leadership Institute. I met someone who was running the restoration and cleaning business. And next thing you know, after having connected with this person and kind of exchanging ideas and what he needs and how he sees things and how I could help. Next thing you know, I end up working for that industry, a complete shift. But in order to answer your second part of the question, is it's one of those things that you get to serve in ways beyond what you have been doing, a nonprofit way. And this is truly boots on the ground, helping people to overcome the kind of disasters in their lives. Not funny, but it is one of those things that, you truly get to help to to help people come out of the immediate um, chaos that happen in their lives and bring some calmness and slowly uh, restore order and then confidence and then back to how things used to be for them. And it's such a motivation to be able to do that kind of work to make a difference in people's lives. I don't know whether I answer all that.
No, I think you answered it correctly. I mean, in all honesty, I think we all kind of, if we're not born into this industry, we stumble into this industry, and it's a love that you end up growing, right? So I think not only do your moral compasses and values align with what you do on a regular basis, it just happened to be a good fit and you stumbled upon it, right? Like you said. And you answered it perfectly. Like, what still motivates you? You're still touching people's lives. You're still doing what you love and while you can do it.
and
I
getting paid.
and getting paid, yes, and getting paid.
You,
That's
you
always
got to
a plus.
do you got to do what you like, and if what you like pays you, that's bonus.
Right. What more could you ask for, right? What more could you ask for? So I have a question here, and I think this is what any leader should answer is, can you describe one specific instance where your leadership and creativity and self-sacrifice made a significant impact on a specific project of people's lives or your life in particular? Doesn't have to be others, but it could be yours.
Yeah, I think, when, you know, in some way, it's not like I show up in the field all the time, but I do. I'm a hands-on person when it's needed, when situations warrant that kind of involvement. So I think I have talked about this where insurance is, unsure whether, a homeowner is going to get coverage or not, and where homeowners are all flustered and a bunch of them not knowing outside water, mudslide, all of those situations, it needs a little bit more hand holding.
Yeah.
And in this case, I did, and I showed up, and to only witness the most devastating thing for a lot of apartment owners and tenants that went through a difficult time, and not knowing that they even have coverage was one thing, but you have a case where a tenant didn't even have renter's insurance, and her entire savings that was used to acquire furniture and every little trinkets in the house that she's proud of is gone. What do you do? So
Yeah.
we just say we can deal with the home and not worry about the tenant, or we can take steps to, yes, the paying part of the job is the home, not the tenant's property, but if you have empathy and if it was to happen to you, then you know that this is beyond the homeowner's property that will be put back together. And maybe some other renter will come back in. But what about a tenant who is just starting out in life, getting a job, buying nice things for herself? How can you or any one of us help? Situations like this abound. There'll be a lot more that happens and already happen in the industry. And I'm sure all of us are doing our part to help in one way or the other. So this opportunity gave me to use some creative approach to use social media, get it to be viral some, so that you can get people's involvement, the community's involvement, so they can participate to help this one person. And it did. And, we got so many responses. People really came forward. Some wants to give the extra bedding, some gave money, some gave, I can transport, I can store, I can, buy you this, I can give you money. So we can stop it where we do our work and stop, or we can take it a little bit further. And I am one of those people who believe that you can take it further. It's about will you, or can you, or will you not?
Yeah. I think you said that really well. I think one of the reasons you did get this award is because of your consistent acts of service like this, right? It's just in your body, it's in your being. I feel like humanity is one of the biggest things that, drives us as professionals. That's how we're able to serve and not only restore and clean, but the emotional part of this job, your customers, you're sometimes coming to them at the worst time in their life, or at least it feels that way, right?
Yeah,
And
it's one of those things that, sometimes when you see Raj, it's big trouble.
I don't
Because
see any trouble. So
oh, it's like you do you really want me to show up? But I show up at other functions in a more happier way. But in a disaster, when you see me, it's like, all right, it's big trouble. But we will hold people's hands to get through this, and that is the promise that I think that I have made and will continue to make.
yeah, I think that's we as professionals, we not only provide that service, as far as with our manual stuff, but just holding the hands makes a huge difference. That impression that you're going to leave on somebody is priceless at the end of the day. And you lead me into my next question, like, you know, in your opinion, which I think you kind of already said it, how can us as professionals in the cleaning and restoration industry further contribute to our immediate society and community, but also the industry as a whole? What would you say is some key ways to do so?
Well, I think that, I don't want to shortchange what many in the industry is already doing in their own way. And this is not a one person, one company effort. I think the industry is very cognizant of going to a disaster zone. Even like right now, you get companies responding to the impending Florida disaster, which is the hurricanes. And, I think the intent, a lot of these responders are going there with an intent to make it better for them, to help them get through this uh, when and if it hits. So, they have good intent in general.
Mhm.
Uh, they are there for a business as well. So that's the underlying part of because they're already doing this as their mode of doing business. This is what they do. When it comes to taking it a step further, what can they contribute? Well, they can provide a lot of information, a lot of communication on what to do, what to expect, what and how they can go about trying to mitigate the best way they can before things happen, how to prepare themselves so that the impact or things that can happen can be lightened and the burden can be lesser. That's for a disaster zone that is impending. On a regular situation, I think companies like ours, industry like ours, can provide some sort of an education um, pre anything. That means in your communication, what to do in the event of this, preventative tips, things that are the basic water loss from a broken pipe, a freezing condition,
Mhm.
impending cold weather. We can put a lot of these out and not fear of giving it away because the the approach of being proactively giving true and necessary and kind information would help somebody, and when things happen, at least you have been upfront, not hoarding information and waiting for disasters to happen. And then here we are, come as the hero, but we can be a hero beforehand. And that I feel is one of those things that we can improve by sharing information. And along the way, take it a step further by providing extra service that people do not expect that we would do in the pretext or not pretext, in the effort of helping for the sake of helping.
Yeah, I think you said that really well. Getting involved with your community on all different levels, right? I think you and I talked about this not that long ago about the fire department, right? Like they ended up reaching out to you. and they ended up bringing you some goodies, and you guys have a really good relationship. And I think those are just little tiny relationships that flourish into something bigger, that make you a staple in your community by sharing resources, helping your community stay prepared. I know out there in Vale, you guys have frozen pipes, you get ice, you get I mean, fires happen close to you as well. So preparing your community for that type of event is, it's almost astronomical for you guys.
Yeah, I think when you are able to change and shift the paradigm of how the community and the community leaders look at you, that is, priceless because, like you say, how would you like when the fire department's chief sends his crew with a fire engine to a restoration company to give me a swag? That's paradigm shift. And we are not ambulance chasers. Um, but what if they come to you, So that's the paradigm shift. And this is funny because just came back. I don't know whether you can read this. This is probably upside down in the
No,
screen.
it's right. It's right. It's
Yeah.
the right
So
way.
I just went to a hiring expo here just this morning, and I met people at Real Fire, which is wildfire reference, defensible spaces. And this is one of those things that, since I was involved in defensible space through the county, uh, it relates to me and said, okay, here is all of their information that they gave. They're putting it out on the table. I said, hey, look, I can take this and rehash it, means putting it out and say, here's where you go for information about defensible space to prevent wildfire. So by giving those PSAs, they don't take much to do. If you watch some of my Instagram posts for Steam Master, you will see wildfire season. I'm putting out, or we as a company put out all the information without hoarding them by saying, don't throw cigarettes out your vehicle. So all of these are PSAs that we can put out as a responsible industry, not just waiting for things to happen, but preventive measures and ways that you can put out win you a lot more respect and trust
Mhm.
and credibility by putting it out. Don't hoard it. And I'm not sure whether I'm answering the question, but
No, you are. You are. I think I was going to ask you another follow-up question to that, kind of like what advice would you give? But I think you just gave it, right? Those friendly PSAs that are on social media, you could even go to your businesses in town and give them a flyer that just tells them how to be prepared, right? It's like little tiny acts of service like that make a huge difference. And I think, quite frankly, has built your foundation in your community. I know you're on the news quite frequently, not just for Steam Master, but your passion and love for art and photography and story writing. I think that kind of tells your whole story, right? We're responsible for our legacy, and I think you're leaving a fantastic one, to be completely honest. But yes, you did answer the question. I kind of rambled because I'm fascinated with the work that you do outside of your full-time job and running a company. But I think also you could probably talk about how you put your art gallery there, and it's inviting and comforting, but then also people are like, what the heck? There's an art gallery at a restoration company. How do these work out? And I think that also builds some type of rapport with your audience, with your community, to show, yes, I'm a business owner, but I also have passions too. I that's the one thing I love. The first time we met, we talked about passions, we talked about all of that, and it really builds the backstory of who you are. And if anybody didn't know that you had that passion, now they do, and it does feed into your acts of service to the community and connecting with the community, even if it's not necessarily restoration and cleaning driven.
well, I think every one of us, and I'm sure all the whether it's a business owner within the industry or the project managers or the crew, every one of them have a special something, a talent, an
Hmm.
art, a skill set that they are good at. And I think this is so underused in the industry. So this, if you ask for that advice thing, I would say companies should look into their portfolio of people's talent beyond the what I do well. I clean carpets. I am a good restorer. I'm a good project manager. Well, who are you as a person? I think that is so underutilized in any or many companies, I should say, that they don't look beyond what skills they bring to work. I think if they find out these people who they are, they could be a really good bowling expert, like I don't know what you call that, but a good bowler maybe.
Yeah.
And what if this person can put uh, organize a thing with the customers and do a support the cancer program in their
Hmm.
town or a nonprofit, and then get this one person who is a technician to teach kids how to bowl. And so then it becomes real for that person. So coming back to your question, I think because it's not looked at so much, I think it's a missed opportunity. I'm a photographer. I'm a fine art photographer. So I use my talent, which I try to hone like any other skill. I hone it to a point that I use it in the best of my ability. One, to teach. Two, to help in places where I could volunteer to do it for a nonprofit. To for my own employees for their own functions and personal events like a quinceanera. I would go and spend the day taking photos for that family and be there almost the whole day and shoot the whole thing and give it back to them for free. And that is a give back that, would have cost a lot of money for them. And here the boss is doing it for you. And this is my give back to our own employees. I've done one wedding and that's it. I hope no more of that. That's a harder one,
I was
but
gonna say that's a lot of responsibility,
but
isn't
I
it?
will do it. I did one wedding. I've done graduation. I've done fall photos. So these are all the give back to the employees only. I don't do this in public. I don't do this for anybody else so that's just and then the rest of my photos are all fine art photography. And since I have that, my work is in History Museum in Denver, in some other gallery in Pueblo, and different parts of the state and in out of state. So I said to myself, here's a three-story building with white walls, and I'm going to put all my work up here and open up the gallery 5 days a week. Anybody can come and enjoy the work. They can buy it, or they can learn about us as a company. Wow, these guys are different. They're not just doing restorative work,
Yeah.
here promoting art, and they are encouraging passion. And it starts with me. And if one of our guys is a fly fisher, we say go fly fish. Powder day, we buy ski pass for all our employees. Powder day, when there's nothing much going on, we say go ski. And we also in this building have employee housing. And now it's a tough time to hire anyone. So we give free housing to our employees. So these are all the creative ways that we have to do within our industry and within this town. So,
I
but
also
my
think you,
gallery, my gallery is open to anyone. So you
yes,
can all in good
yeah,
light.
yes, all in good light. And I was just gonna add to, I think not just, you know, creating your presence in your community, but also giving back to your employees. I think you really hit on that too. I know a lot of us in the industry give back to our employees. That's one of our biggest missions. But I think you gave some really good examples, like even the free pictures, even a ski pass, or if something's wrong with family or something happens to family, like go do that. We've got it. We've got it. We've got you, and I know you have us. I think that's the biggest thing. And I also think that's another reason why you were nominated and you received this award. I think just those acts of service, and all of that. So I know you are a
Yeah,
very humble.
before you go to another one, I do want to say this. Look, we're not perfect. So
Yes.
please, we're not. As much as you think that we got our act together, we're constantly learning, we're constantly making mistakes, we're constantly doing good by trying to learn from that, and we are not perfect, but we're trying. At least let me clarify. I don't want to paint a picture that
No.
we got it all together. We are constantly learning. So,
I was gonna say it takes time, right? You've been in the industry for quite some time, so you've learned, you've not only observed, you've implemented and made some changes. And I think, we're ever evolving. We're always gonna learn from any mistake, mishap, and it's our job to make that a lesson and not a reoccurrence. So I think it's industry leaders like yourself and many others in the industry where yes, we are human. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to have to apologize for our whoopsies, but we have to be the bigger person and be able to pick up and fix those mistakes. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I will say I love about this industry. I feel like a lot of us are very, if not all of us, are very, very, very humble. And we will fall on the sword if we did make a mistake. I think that's one of the things that makes us very unique, you know. Um, but I will say, I know you are a very humble person. And so the question I'm going to ask you is, I know you don't like to brag about yourself or anything like that, but I really want to know, and I want the viewers to know why or what does receiving this award mean to you personally and professionally? And how do you think someone will or can learn from the things that you've done in your career so far to lead future industry efforts?
right. And I've said it maybe a few times. A little tall award for a 5 feet 5 inches tall guy, not a short guy. It's a little big, tall award, but yeah, I truly appreciate the recognition. It humbles you to, especially me, because if I were to look at my older brother, he's done twice as much as me, and yeah, he's in a different part of the country. Sorry, a different region even. And then going back to my father, who until his last breath was the giver. So, you grow up with that and you're like, oh, the youngest brother get this award. That is what? Not that anybody's questioning it, but it's me. But you grow up knowing and believing in service above self when you that's been a motto that you carry, ready, willing, able type of thinking. It's part of your DNA that you are like I am unapologetically um proud of that, because I don't want to diffuse that kind of a service that anybody do and have to feel embarrassed about it. No. Yes. At the same time, yeah, you are humbled by it. But in all honesty, there's a lot of people within the industry that I can name of a bunch of them that are already kind of doing this.
Mhm.
And what does it do? What it does by acknowledging it, by accepting it, and by being the example would be to um, kind of encourage, to inspire, and to let this perpetuate. Then the act of being given is noble for all. Because
Mhm.
then if it stops with you, then oh, then it doesn't go any further. Magazines like Restoration Mediation, who takes this opportunity to put it out so that it can be seen and realized, even you as a publishing company is doing your role to perpetuate it. So we are in it together to allow this to continue. I think I couldn't think of a better word, that we're in it together means even you as an organization, because a publishing company is such an important, plays in such an important role to kind of carry messages as a conduit between the industry and the community in some big way that it's unrealized sometimes and has to be acknowledged.
Yeah, I think you said that best. I think collectively it's a team effort, right? And it's for all of us as
Yep.
the entire industry as a whole. And I think we're our own biggest critics, right? We are going to see our imperfections and say, well, like you just said, your dad and your brother, which I can fully relate. My dad is a giver. He is a hard worker, and there's some accolades that he's received. And, you know, if I were to ever be in that position, I would definitely say like he should have got that or he has that. Why is my name next to his? I think that's our it is flattering, it is humbling, but at the end of the day, we're doing it for the greater good, not for recognition. And when we do get recognized, it is the silver lining in everything that we do. It is nice. It's a nice nod to you for your impressions that you're leaving behind. But it's definitely not why we do it. We do it because we love to do it.
Yep. I couldn't agree better. And I thank, the opportunity. I thank the industry to put out what is a national recognition from the Experience, which is an organization that really, over the years have done so well to educate, to inspire, to keep up with the learning, to, provide the best conduit method to get all of us together in one place, and improve, and along the way put out this type of recognition that is much appreciated.
Well, very deserving, Raj. I can definitely tell you that. And, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us today on Ask the Expert. And we hope to have you again sometime soon and see you in the near future. We really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, we will see you on the next episode of Ask the Expert. Take care.